Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, The Black Accountant. It's your boy Mo. If you haven't already done so, go ahead and like, comment, subscribe, and leave any comments of content you want to see going forward in the future. So today I wanted to talk a little bit about happiness. The ever elusive concept. You know, so I honestly don't believe it's as complicated as most people make it seem for several reasons. Because happiness isn't an item or a thing, it's a mentality. And I strongly, strongly, strongly believe that. And I think there's a couple ways to go around to getting to that point, you know? So, number one, and I think is the biggest factor of all of this, is to stop lying to yourself. You know, be honest with yourself within yourself. If you're unhappy with your job, you're unhappy with your family, you're unhappy with whatever it is, make sure that you understand your own feelings. You need to do some kind of introspection to understand what is the root problem. Why am I in this funk? Why is it that I feel this type of way? Once you understand that, that's the hard part that comes next, is addressing those issues. And addressing those issues doesn't necessarily mean confront every single thing or move towards something. It means, if, let's say, I'm unhappy with my job, and when I get off of work, I'm going to be looking for something that's going to be matching more so my spirit, my personality, something that I actually do want to do. And if you don't know what that is, it means to try things until you figure out what it is that you like. A lot of times we have this bug in our ear telling us, you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to be this is the definition of success, this is what it means to be happy, etc., etc., etc. Those are things that you should be defining for yourself, not your parents, not your siblings, not your relatives, not your friends. Nobody but you defines what your happiness is. you know for me, happiness is peace of spirit, peace of mind. And how do I attain that? By, number one, drawing boundaries, you know understanding what upsets me and what doesn't, and being honest on a consistent basis. I have a set of morals or standards, and I try very hard not to deviate from those things. you know and if I do end up deviating from those things, I feel really bad about it, and then I go ahead and correct it. you know Another part of the jigsaw puzzle that is happiness is to care about other people. And when I say care about other people, in the Western world, is something that I've noticed with a lot of us, is it's very individual oriented rather than family or unit oriented. So we're super geared at putting ourselves first all the time, of like, I'm sad, why is nobody paying attention to me? My happiness comes first. If these people aren't always making you happy, you need to cut them out of your life. If this and this and this and that, if people aren't following my path, what I'm doing, then they're the problem. I'm never the problem. you know and then I feel like this type of mentality or this type of path typically leads people more and more towards unhappiness, because they see themselves as victims, and it gives you more capacity and more leeway to view yourself that way, because now you see yourself as the center of the world, center of your world, at least, in the sense that people need to appease you or please you. Like, if you're sad or down, waiting for somebody to come figure out what's wrong with you rather than you communicating the issue, that's more of a lack of confrontation, lack of honesty on your side than it is the other person. Sometimes there are people that like to come and check up on people and figure out what's wrong with you, but that's not the norm and should never be the norm necessarily. A lot of times we see this glorification of what a friendship or what a relationship should look like in media, rather than actually what it does look like in real life. And in real life, people communicate. And communication is understanding, how does this person communicate, how do I communicate, and how do we bridge that gap? Because this person may communicate more through body language versus this person who communicates more verbally. How do I make sure that this person really understands how I'm feeling or what I'm doing? So being able to come to that element and then move forward from that is another step towards happiness. you know and I would say one of the biggest things here too is to be a balanced individual. You can't just be a taker and you can't just be a giver. A giver is somebody who's always, always, always putting other people before themselves to a fault where you start to even forget that you're important. It's like you're feeling sorry for yourself for existing versus a taker who's somebody that's just so used to themselves and is so super self-absorbed that just takes consistently, usually from somebody that's a giver. And when you have those two types of people in a certain dynamic, it becomes a codependent relationship. So for us, we need to figure out how to take from our friends, take from our parents, but also give back. And giving doesn't necessarily mean I have to get you a gift, I have to get you money, whatever it is. It means paying attention to somebody other than yourself for a change and trying to understand them as a person, whether it be through a conversation, watching them in action. You start to pick up on things about how this person typically behaves when they're down, when they're up, and then it makes it that much easier to communicate. And the last thing I would say, at least from the big things that really contribute to happiness, is to get up and try. A lot of times people seem to be so defeated before they've even tried because they feel like they have the foresight to see how they're going to fail. And sometimes that foresight is right. You see that you're going to fail, but failure is what builds character, is actually what makes things enjoyable in life. If everything that you have came easy, you've never really taken a risk in your life. You've never really ventured into something that you 100% like, or something that you feel like you might like, because you're so scared of the possibility of failing that you never take a risk or take a chance on yourself to figure out or see, hey, I like myself or believe in myself enough to know that if I fall down here, I can get back up. And when I get back up, I'm going to learn the lesson of what I did wrong when I failed. So the next time I fail, I've gotten a little bit better. And that's how you keep going. And you hear this stuff all the time in media. A lot of times when it's a successful entrepreneur or a millionaire or billionaire, whatever it is, they did have a bunch of failures and a lot of bounce backs, and I'm not saying necessarily you always have to be in this positive outlook, but to understand that feelings are passing. Focus on what's logical and what's going to get you to where you need to be. If you consistently focus on this feeling of sadness, oh, I'm so sad, I'm so down, or whatever, nobody understands me, this and that, nobody will. You're going to be stuck in that same bubble for a very, very, very long time because you're refusing to let that feeling pass. You want to harp on it. You continue to harp on that specific feeling in that moment by playing sad songs, continuing certain types of playlists, and keeping yourself in that mood, which works to your detriment. So anyway, I don't want to go a little bit too much over time in talking about this subject, but let me know what your thoughts are in the comments, and go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe.